Hey, AfterBuzzers and Bold Type fans, we cannot wait to talk about this week's episode, The Scarlet Letter. Ben has stolen all of our hearts, and Sutton is taking chances. Also, we've got a bold issue that we want to talk about that was really, really accentuated this episode, and we can't wait to get into it, so stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Okay.
I heard this song and I thought you ladies might like it. It's by Christina Aguilera and it's called Pipe.
Pipe.
It's about
I love it.
the male member. I thought it was appropriate for the bold type.
I love it. Everything's appropriate for the bold type with all of us ladies. And welcome back to another after show. We're so excited to be here. And I will like to say and point out that I love the music supervisor on the show.
Yes, amazing.
He curates the best soundtracks of every episode. I love it so much. But before we get into this week's episode, I would like to introduce our lovely panel. I'm your host, Allie Nasta. And to the left of me, we've got Drew Jones visiting today, guesting.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're so excited to have you here.
Woo-hoo.
And of course, Nakia Monet.
Hey girls, hey, and guys.
Hey girls, hey. And then we've got Krista Flentje.
Hey guys.
Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. I'm
Nailed
glad.
it.
I was really nervous about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, overall thoughts of this episode, ladies.
This was cool. I mean, we're only second episode in.
Three.
We're three. Jesus Christ. That's
I know,
right.
I
We did
forget
two
two.
last week. Okay, so we're 3 episodes in. So it's a little slow, but I think they have to listen. But I thought it was a pretty cool episode, and I like the whole body positivity.
Of course.
Because I'm a curvy girl myself.
Hey.
So I like anything that talks about that. So cool.
Yeah, I agree. I like the body positivity deal, and I also like that they kind of threw us for a loop. I mean, we were thinking she was eventually going to go back to Scarlet,
Right.
but
Right.
I feel like we had a little twist in there, so that was nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like that the bold type always kind of covers sub-taboo topics. It's like, workplace etiquette is one thing, but like working with your friends, like you don't ever really think about that. But I like that they covered that topic a little bit.
Yeah, no, it definitely, it's definitely funny to hear them talk about those things particularly, because in this, you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I was thinking. I wonder how to kind of go about this. It's almost like the guide to your work
It really
life.
is. I laughed because honestly, before I came here, my coworkers actually were having a fight. And I put up this funny meme. I'm like, this is my face while my coworkers are fighting. So I felt like when I was watching this episode, I'm like, it is tricky when you're working with your friends. It's awkward. It's weird.
It is. It's super difficult, and I can't even imagine when you bring like other people outside of
That's
it, and then
tough.
all their issues. That's like you're dealing with their baggage, and then your friendship as well.
Right.
It's a lot.
I think we all kind of felt a little awkward when Kat asked the big question to Sutton. Can you just think of her as an option? Because obviously we've all been there some way or another where, maybe someone's asking too much of us. Usually whenever you work in retail, that's the awkward thing. When it's like, you cannot take advantage of me in my discount. I feel
Right.
like that's kind of like what this situation was.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I don't know. How are you guys feeling about how appropriate was that of Kat to ask of Sutton?
She didn't really ask.
That's
Krista.
true.
She
Yeah.
kind of would.
Yeah.
She kind of told, because if you ask, if you're like, hey, can you throw Adina's name into the ring? Cool, that's one
Right.
thing. Treat her fairly like any other photographer. But it was more like Sutton, said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. But Kat was just like, okay, so what's up? And that's where like the line is like kind of being crossed.
Well, yeah, and Kat had the nerve to be kind of upset that Sutton was like, I mean, I'm considering other people. And it's like, no, duh, this is her job. And she also respects you as a friend. But
Right.
she's got to, like, worry about her job on top of it.
And we're adults. Like, if this
Yeah.
was Jacqueline saying that, Kat would never question Jacqueline. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with you asking, but again, she didn't even ask her friend. It's cool to ask your friend, but also expect to be like, cool, I'll let Adina know there might be an opportunity, there might not. And if the next job comes up, can you please put her name in the hat? So I thought it was really selfish of Kat, as always, to be like, to feel some type of way because Sutton was like, cool, let me think about it. We have other people to interview as well.
Definitely. It was just a lot of pressure to put on Sutton, especially because this is a huge deal. This is Oliver giving her the full reins of a shoot. And that's something she's been waiting for. So to kind of go in there and almost manipulate the situation in a way, maybe manipulate's a bad way to put it, but
Kind of. I mean, a
I
little
think she
bit.
unintentionally
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
Yeah,
does
it
that.
wasn't purposeful, but it looked as
And that's the thing with Kat, is she does everything with so much passion and so much heart that I think sometimes it blinds, what it may feel like to others, because she has this vision of how it's going to work out. And it usually does work out in the end.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, I felt like it was a little kind of that, how do we skate around this?
That's tough. But I do like the way it was handled.
Definitely.
Because I kept saying last week, I'm like, one thing I love about the bold type, everyone communicates. And it just teaches people how you can go about something and how not to do it.
Yeah.
So I like that. Because, usually on TV shows, they're corny where they're like, where the person won't say anything. But Sutton's like, no, I don't like this. Let's talk about this. No, how do you know how that makes me feel? Are you thinking about my feelings? I love stuff like that because I feel like when people are in those situations, they don't think about the other party. No one's really a logical thinker.
That's so true. This could have easily, in any other situation, turned into a really big fight between them. But the fact that the communication was there, they avoided it.
Communication is key. That was
They're
my major.
great at that.
And I just want to point out to Adina before we get into Sutton's side of the story too, is that she is so patient and supportive, and we don't only see that in her relationship with Kat, but we also see that with this situation with Sutton. Anybody else would have probably gotten so hurt by what she was hearing and just walked out of the room and been like, fine, you don't want me here, I'm gone, you don't need my work then. But Adina has showed us time and time again that she's very supportive of her friend, of Kat and her friends, and how she realized she might be stepping on someone's toes and doesn't want to do that. So she's very vocal of how she wants to kind of be like, I'll do it your way, I'm sorry I stepped on toes. And that's something, because at first we were kind of like, ooh, this is Sutton's shoot, but she did a good job of, coming back from that and being like, she like almost like, let Sutton do her thing, which was really cool. And then they end up having such a great time out of it.
Yeah, because at first I was a little worried just because when you're hired in a position like that, you have to kind of go with the vision of what you're being hired for. They're not hiring you necessarily to come up with your own ideas. They have a concept. You have to come in there and kind of do it. And that's a normal thing in jobs. Like, you don't always get to, people think you go into the entertainment industry or whatever, you get to just instantly do your thing. And that's not how it is 99.9% of the time. So I was a little nervous at first for that, just because I was like, ooh, this is not gonna go well, but I'm glad that it turned around and did the thing.
And I think everybody was kind of anxious. Like, I wanted to see what the broken candy looked like.
Me too. But it would have been really pretty.
I think it would have been really pretty. I think that was something where, Sutton had let's jump into Sutton now. So her side of the story was she was having this struggle of, do I just give it to her because she's a friend, she's my best friend's girlfriend, and I really want to help her out, and obviously she's having, these visa struggles, or do I completely just negate that because I want to do my own thing?
Right.
So in this way of thinking of it, do you think, Sutton, it was right of her to just jump the gun and be like, you know what, I want to do this for Kat, no matter how the outcome comes, because I just want to take a chance?
Yeah, I kind of liked how they had her moment with Jacqueline, so you could really see how much she was struggling with it. Because, like you said, she's such a nice person and she wants to help her friend, but I think Jacqueline's advice was kind of why she was like, I need to take a risk, and also maybe it'll work out. But yeah, I liked that because you could tell that she wasn't just at first going to let Kat have it, but she was really considering it.
I think it's also cool. It's scary to take a risk, but I think it's also a cool thing when you actually do it because you might actually get a different result instead of being safe and in the box all the time. Because I feel like people in that industry, especially like the fashion, they work for the magazines, but they're in the fashion department. I feel like you're always taking a risk. So I think it was really a dope thing, and I think it was cool for Jacqueline to be like, hey, you can or you cannot. They took a risk on me. Maybe you take a risk, and maybe now, if it doesn't work in the future, you know what to do. Always go with your gut. But if it works now, you know. So, and I'm like, I love that she surprises Oliver because it's hard for Oliver to give a compliment.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm glad that she took the time to consider it though, because while someone took a chance on Jacqueline, she also, the person who took a chance on her also was way up in the company.
Right.
And Sutton is still, trying to make a name for herself and stuff. So I'm glad that she didn't just because Kat's very pushy and very she reminds me of a lot of just millennials in general, and I'm a millennial myself before you rip me apart. But I feel like she reminds me of a lot of millennials where we just think that our way is the right way, and you have to agree with us because trust us, we know it's right. And Kat's very much that, so I'm glad to send
she's peak, yes.
Yeah.
Just took her time and came to her own conclusion.
I think one thing that made me a little frustrated though was that when she started getting mad because that should have happened outside of that situation. It was
Yeah.
just a little unprofessional. And also, you know, you decided you were gonna take this chance, right? You knew what you were getting yourself into, so you kind of can't be mad about someone wanting to go their own way or take it a different direction when you kind of know how their art is in the end. You know what I mean? So that kind of frustrated me a little bit because I'm like, okay, I know you're taking a chance, but the fact that then you're going to get mad about you taking that chance, it kind of takes away from you jumping and leaping and saying, okay, let's do this. So that was a little frustrating.
No,
but,
I agree.
But, you know, they ended up having a great shoot. It was all fun. And I thought those shots were beautiful. They turned out great. And I thought it was great.
And I love that they got to do it together.
Yeah.
Of course, Jane was there.
Dang.
Man, if only she could go back to Scarlet. We'll get into a second. But
Yes.
you know what you can do with friends and you can listen to with friends? A bunch of our after shows. And we're your friends. And I've been saying the word friends many times. So, Nakia, take it away.
Hey friends, hey AfterBuzzers. Here at the network, we produce after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows, for dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There is no network that works harder to serve television fans, but now we need your help. We're begging, we're humble, we love you all. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. Besides helping us a ton, here's what what's in it for you. Obviously, I'm nervous. It caters to specific content. Guys, why am I having trouble with this? You already like directly to you. It brings you your favorite after shows so you don't have to seek them out. And it suggests content from other channels and podcasts that might interest you. Subscribing to our YouTube channels will also help you discover new shows that we're sure you will love. Since you're already tuned into our genre, which is drama, channel... Okay, good night. Let's start that again. So apologies everyone who's listening. I'm reading from like a live read that we have, and it's a lot of words, and it's been a long day. I've been up since 5 a.m. So let's start that again. Since you already tuned into our genre, which is drama, you might be interested in The Bold Type, which you're already watching, The Affair, Love Is, Queen of the South, Claws, 13 Reasons Why, and Queen Sugar. And remember, we have channels for other genres too. Please don't be shy about subscribing to them either. I know after hearing this, you might not do it, so sorry about that. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be. They're optional. It's easy. Hit the subscribe button now for an even easier AfterBuzz experience. And if you let us know that you did in the comments, we'll shout you out on the air. Thank you guys, because we've been doing that a lot lately. You subscribe, you give us 5 stars, we give you a fan shout out, and we really do appreciate that. Thanks for being the best fans. We promise to continue to do our best to serve you. And if you're listening, I apologize for butchering your ears.
No, you did
Sorry.
not.
But
You did amazing.
You definitely should subscribe, because I don't know about you guys, but I love going down YouTube black holes.
Yes.
And it's great when you have subscribed to a bunch of things that you like, because then it's consistent videos that you actually enjoy watching.
And it helps kind of curate your feed too, because even if you don't watch the videos that are constantly in your feed, it like helps you play the different ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, and of course, if you're watching this, I don't know if you're aware, but we do have iTunes on podcasts on iTunes as well, and you can just subscribe to that, and that goes to a notification directly to your phone, lets you know when there's a new episode, and there you can also give us 5 stars and comment. We want to know what you guys are thinking of the show, and if there's any suggestions of things that we can kind of help put on the show for the next following week. We would love to do that as well, and we're so appreciative of all of you guys, and we love chatting about this show every week because it's so inspiring and empowering, and it gives us some help and some positive tips to kind of navigate the workplace, because man, starting out, it is hard, you know, just trying to figure it all out.
Facts.
But someone that I kind of wish that would help me figure it all out is Jacqueline.
Queen.
She just
Everything.
steps in the room, and I feel like everything just freezes. She's so just perfect, and like the advice, every word that comes out of her mouth is just so great. And obviously she's had a lot of experience and things in her past, but I wanted to know what your guys' take was on her writing again, and kind of being able to, in a lack of saying fighting words, she was able to tell that board member what was up, right?
I thought it was awesome because Cleo, the board member, though she may not intentionally was doing it, but she came off kind of bullying. All because you guys felt like it wasn't right for the issue. So I like that Jacqueline was like, you know what? I'm actually going to go back to writing to let you know, and I'm going to stand up for this issue, that it's okay. Like, it's not a negative thing. This is what we're here for. This is what this magazine, Scarlet, is about. It's about young women coming together, loving themselves, not putting it in the magazine because you guys feel some type of way. So I thought it was cool to put Cleo in her place, because Cleo needs to go.
I
Like,
agree.
she needs to go.
She just, I mean, even from the interview, I'm surprised she even made it to the board because Jacqueline didn't like her from the jump. So
Right.
I'm just kind of confused.
Why she's there.
Yeah.
Because
And
I feel like the men upstairs did that purposely. Because you know that they always go
yeah.
back and forth with Jacqueline because Jacqueline is so strong-minded, and I feel like she always pushes back on what they want. So I feel like they thought, let's bring in another woman
That'll agree with
even
us.
though she's the complete opposite of Jacqueline. That might be a challenge. And
But you know what that worries me is because the board makes the decisions, right?
Yes.
So this is what scares me a little bit about Cleo is I feel like she might have another agenda, and obviously if the board's listening to her, is she going to have any control over Jacqueline's fate, which would really obviously kill us all, which she's like the main person of the show, so I don't think they could do anything with that, but that's what scares me in
Could
writing
definitely
and
be.
drama, you know,
Yeah.
what could happen there. And I mean, she's just such a powerhouse that that's the only reason it frightens me, because these people are just terrible and want to like put people down.
Yeah, also it's 2018. Everyone's doing like body. This is a thing
Right.
that everyone's talking about. Are you guys really not going to get on board with that?
Yeah,
too?
also being a big person doesn't necessarily mean that you're unhealthy.
No.
And being a tiny person doesn't mean
Exactly.
that you're, My
Exactly.
roommate is 90 pounds soaking wet and like 5'3", and she eats horribly.
See, like what?
Love you, girl. But
It's crazy, but you know
That's
what's
true though.
You know what's crazy though, because even though body positivity is a thing now, 2018, a lot of these girls, they still go through this. A lot of these plus size models still get hated on. Like, what's his name? Soriano. He's like the only designer who would only
So
design
much more
for
to go.
plus size
Love him.
women.
Which, ladies,
which is crazy.
I really want to get into this, but we do have a special segment for that. So let's hold all of
sorry.
these thoughts
True.
about body positivity, because I do want to get into it, because obviously it is a huge thing that everybody needs to start embracing. But let's finish about Jacqueline and Jane, and then we will get into some body positivity issues. But I just loved the way that she was able to fight and like use the fighting words as her writing to show her this is what I'm about, you know, without even having to say anything to her face, which was awesome. But that leads us to some people that aren't really, they're trying to fight for what they want, but they're not really getting it, which is Jane. We see her kind of applying for all these jobs or making all the calls she can, and she still isn't finding anything. And she goes to Dr. Ben to try to fight for this story, which, let's talk about
Dr.
Ben.
Ben.
It's cute.
He
I
is
love Dr. Ben.
so much fun.
Yes.
Tell us how
But
you
my
feel.
question for you ladies is, do you think he has interest in Jane? Or do you think that he secretly is still crushing on Sutton?
I think he's still crushing on Sutton, but I think after spending the day with Jane, maybe he like is growing towards her too. But I think his initial interest was Sutton, and
I know.
yeah, that's why I'm like not sure what they're gonna do with that story.
I mean, I think it was initially Sutton, but I don't know. I think he's genuine.
digging her?
I think he's into her. I mean, I think everyone's had that, like, you see one guy and you're like, oh, he's really cute. And then you meet their
That's
friend
true.
and you end up like,
or
That's
like you were
true.
there
That's
as
true.
a setup for a friend, and then you're
Yeah.
like, I can work with yeah,
You're like, I didn't like you,
I
I'll go for the other one.
I can handle it.
That
yeah.
happens. That does happen.
Yeah.
so I think it's a genuine thing. And also, he's just, wow.
And he's such a sweet guy. You're right. He'd never like
Yeah.
not. He'd let
We
it go.
still
Yeah.
still don't even know. Like, we saw them like get introduced to each other. Like,
Yeah.
so
This
it's
was,
not
like,
like
a
dates
couple
yet. We're
minutes,
just jumping
yeah.
the gun. We're missing Pinstripe. You
We're
know,
hopeful.
we're missing the love interests. Yeah, we are hopeful because I need to see more Ben on my
Right?
screen. He's
Yeah,
great.
He's cute.
I just love his character too because he seems like he just is a very mature, well-rounded, good-hearted man, which sometimes, you know, in TV shows, that's almost like, I mean, as in life, a good man is hard to find, but in
Yeah.
TV
Single?
shows, like, a genuine person is just kind of a little difficult, but it's
Yeah.
fun to kind of see that. It gives you hope, you know?
I like seeing a young, like, male figure on a TV show that's in it for passion over, like, material
Money,
things, because
yeah.
I think, especially with our generation, that's a huge issue, is, like, the whole, we're trying to portray this, like, lavish lifestyle when we're all in debt and whatnot. And so I like that he's just like, yeah, I could be making more money and I could have more free time, but this is what I'm passionate about and I
Right.
enjoy doing this.
Good for you, Ben, because you're good at it.
Yeah. You're so good at it.
The best.
He's the best, Ben. He's awesome. I'm excited to see kind of where this takes. I feel like we're obviously going to start steering into the more like relationship side of things because we do know Pinstripe's coming back. So it'll be kind of interesting interesting to see how that all plays out. But Jane, obviously, she pitched herself to go to the story and still doesn't know if anything's going to come out of it. And then walks into Scarlet like she's owning the place and walks away with news she didn't expect to get. Were you guys expecting Jacqueline to tell her, I can't have you back at Scarlet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Straight up. I didn't know, but as soon as she walked in and I saw Jacqueline's face, I was like, oh, it's not happening for her.
Yeah.
Because Jacqueline's the type, like, she's always about a life lesson and she always wants to teach people lessons. So I didn't think that she would easily just hand it over to Jane. I thought, like, I mean, this is a prediction for me. I can, I guess, save it later, but I'm not saying that she won't go back, but I don't think Jacqueline's going to make it as easy for her.
Yeah.
I think she wants her to learn her lesson because when she was at Scarlet, she was so impatient. And Jacqueline was trying to teach her a lesson in that moment and she didn't understand it. So I definitely knew she wasn't going to get that job back. But I'm like, okay, but I feel like Jacqueline's going to watch her and make sure she's good, but I don't think she'll be at Scarlet.
She's got a game plan for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. I absolutely agree with that. I think she needs to, like, I feel like all 20-somethings need to fail, and you need to fail really, really hard. And, like, I think of moments where I've failed really hard, and I'm like, I'm so not, like, glad that I had to go through that, but I'm so glad that, I can handle things now.
One of the best pieces of advice I ever got about failing and, like, negative things that happen to you, a lot of the times you're like, oh my gosh, why is this negative thing happen to me? Like, why is everything bad? Yeah, and you're just kind of, why me? But really those negatives are actually all positives because each negative leads you to the next thing. So if you start thinking about negatives as positive reactions, just like if you pick a simple like relationship, for instance, and you're like, oh, I can't believe they broke up with me. But really you're like, if you think of it as a positive, like, oh, wow, they broke up with me because there's someone better out there. There's more to my future. There's something else that's going to step into that instead. Then it kind of starts making things so much better. And so I think that was such an interesting thing for Jacqueline to say, is that you can't feel safe right now. Like, you need to fail a little bit and relish in that, because failure is actually sometimes a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And what lesson do you learn if it's just given back to you?
Exactly.
You know?
Which she wouldn't have learned anything because she went into writing for them and she thought this was going to be this huge opportunity, and she's so impatient. She needs to like kind of fall on her ass and pick herself back up.
And that's true, is that she had her dream job. Could you imagine working for, whatever dream you've ever imagined? And she even mentioned she grew up reading Scarlet Magazine, and then you kind of throw it all away, and then you go back and it's not there.
Yeah.
You kind of need... The fact that you threw it away in the first place, you need to kind of
There's a lesson
stumble
you need to
a little
learn
bit.
there.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that
Yeah,
easy.
so I'm happy Jacqueline did. It sucks because I want her there with the crew again, but I'm happy that Jacqueline, because I do feel like our generation, everything has been kind of handed to us, and a lot of us, we don't actually learn those lessons. So I'm happy that she's like, no, can't come back. Sorry. I can ask for the money, but I'm not.
Yeah. She was like, I could, but I'm not going to.
You can come back, but I don't want you to. So you need to learn.
So what do you guys think is next for Jane?
I think like this is gonna be where she's gonna have to know what it's like to be unemployed, be on unemployment, temp, try to like hustling. Yes, like because I feel like everything has been handed to Jane. I don't feel like she's ever went out to get it. So I think living in New York City, one of the grimiest cities ever, but it has an amazing hustle to it. She's gonna be in these New York streets and on Craigslist, on LinkedIn, asking people, yo, can I work for you? Like hustling, like when you're so hungry, you will do anything for your career. And I think that's going to make her a stronger person.
Yeah, I think the whole writing for a magazine is so interesting because I'm a writer. I know a bunch of writers. I don't know anyone who has a permanent gig anywhere.
Right, yeah. It's all freelance these days.
Exactly.
Yeah, these days it's all freelance. It's all hustle. It's like if you want food on the table, you got to go out there and get it. So I want to see that for her because I think that represents a lot of what's going on for,
Journalism.
So I'd like to see her maybe even like, I don't know, start her own blog or something.
Yeah, right. Oh, that would be fun, Drew. That's a great
She'd
prediction.
be great at that.
Yeah. I mean, she's got great fashion.
Yes.
Obviously, that's true.
Blog.
I support it.
And she wants her own kind of idea. Like
And
she
platform,
wants, she
there
wants
you
her
go.
own,
She wants to be her own boss. I just think she hasn't figured out that that's like what she wants.
Right.
That's
and in
great.
2018, it's easy. I should go on Instagram.
Get a website.
And
call
you're
it
good
a
to
day.
go.
That's amazing.
it.
Get you a .com.
I love that, Drew. I love that so much.
Thank you.
Well, ladies, I think that kind of wraps up all of the storylines of our favorite characters.
It does, but can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Did you guys notice that when Sutton was going to talk to, what is his face? Is it Nick or
Alex?
Alex? thinking about
Which
something else.
we need to mention that Alex has been looking good this
He
year.
looks really good.
Like a
but
snack.
notice when she went to go talk to him, she like sprayed like the breath mint, like I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, but you know, usually when you're talking to a guy, not that you have to like him, but you're kind of trying to impress him.
Mm-hmm.
She did the whole like, let me spray the breath mint. Let me make sure I'm good before I go talk to him.
Okay.
I thought that was just an exact ploy for Mitzi, because Mitzi was
Yeah.
like, oh, when is this going to end? So I think it's her because like literally she knew she was going to talk to Alex, and so she kind of wanted to throw it in her face. That's what I saw there. I didn't see anything. Like, I don't know. I just don't see any connection between them. If anything, it was more like you had mentioned last week with, like, him, I don't know, liking someone else. So, I don't know. I just don't see the whole Sutton and Alex thing.
I just don't see her trying to go down that road with anybody in the
Unless it's
company.
Richard.
Unless it's Richard, because of how they even handled it when they thought it was her and Alex. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He's cute, so I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah, right. I mean, we love seeing Alex on the screen, so any way you can bring him back, he can stay. Alrighty, ladies. Well, as we mentioned, we want to bring a special topic to you guys every week, which it's going to be called Bold Issues, which means every week they talk about something so specific, and they really show a dynamic look at how everybody's kind of dealing with the situation. And this week, I feel like it was body positivity. And they weren't able to go in too much depth, but they showed that, you know, Jacqueline was writing the article, and that they were doing the jewelry with just kind of natural look and natural beauty. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that topic with everybody and kind of open it up, because it is something so important, and we do see a lot of celebrities and bloggers out there trying to enforce that, whether it's like a no makeup Monday or something, or, you know, there really is no regular body type or body size. And so I wanted to obviously chat with you guys about it, and we should all be body positive, and there is no mold that anybody should fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wild that we even have to have like a movement called
Right.
body positivity, because like if you look at history of like what that, like Marilyn Monroe was a size 14,
Right.
Like homegirl was thick, you know, and like that was the ideal woman, and that was what 50 years ago, not even. So it's like the fact that it's just, and in the 90s everyone was like the ideal was stick thin, no boobs, no butt, and now it's like the Kim Kardashian body. It's
like always different.
yeah, you're never gonna win. Your body's not built to go through that many different transitions, and it's just like why stress it, you know? It's just, who cares?
Right.
Exactly.
Who cares?
Exactly.
And there's so many science stuff, or not science, I don't know what I'm saying, but there's been so many things that have been proven that everything is based off of what we're seeing, because we see this image that doesn't exist. Everything is airbrushed, or, you know, cut out or photoshopped or anything of the sort, and so we're seeing something that's kind of it's warping our brain to think a certain way.
Yeah.
And so that's just not fair, because everybody's beautiful in their own way. And I
No.
just love that this show is really trying to bring that to light and show that, like, we are all beautiful. It doesn't matter what you look like. Like, we need to all embrace one another.
Yeah, I liked what you were saying too before. Even if you are like a size 0, that doesn't necessarily mean you're super healthy too. Like, some people just are lucky, or some people just aren't lucky. So it's just, I don't know. It's all, you just gotta float with it. And I feel like we were talking about last week, social media does not help at all. So it's just like, love yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't, even the plus size movement's kind of BS right now, because it's like these beautiful plus size girls, sure, but it's flat stomachs, and
Yeah,
you
and
know,
you're like,
cellulite.
how's that possible?
And that's like, that's not, I mean, yeah, that is one side of plus size, but that's not all of plus size.
No.
And so like, you want people to accept their bodies, but it has to look like X, Y, and Z. And it's just like, I'm like, I know it's easier said than done, but it's just kind of one of those things like, I guarantee that my cellulite isn't going to make you lose sleep at night. So, like, why do you care, and why do I care if you care?
Right.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
Because, like, at the end of the day, I'm still going to, you know, go on my daily run, but I'm also still going to eat the slice of pizza, and what you going to do? Fight me? Like, no, you're not. So what's up?
It's like everybody just needs to care about themselves, you know, and embrace one another. I just think that everybody is beautiful. It doesn't matter what you look like. It just matters on what's inside, and that sounds cliche, but it's true.
It's true.
It's literally like, I love every single one of you guys and everybody out there. I love everybody, and I just don't think it's fair that anybody should feel like they have to subject themselves to a certain image type, because everybody's beautiful. Everybody is. And
Amen.
I loved that they talked about it in this episode, and they they brushed on it a little. I was kind of surprised they didn't, have her say more about it, but she basically stood her ground and said, nope, no matter what. Jacqueline was like, everybody's beautiful. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what size you are. So I loved that. I thought it was great. But in other news, we're running out of time. So do we have any news and gossip that you ladies wanted to discuss today? Krista, did you mention you had something?
Yeah, we had, what's the...
AfterBuzz TV News.
I think you've got a little bit more of the info up.
So last week, the episode touched more about like Kat's race and her being I was gonna say bisexual.
I was like, whoa.
Biracial. And I know a lot of people were like in the comments and they wondered why we didn't speak about it. And most of it was because we were running out of time and none of us on the panel are biracial. So I know me personally, I didn't want to speak on something I didn't know. But Aisha, who actually plays Kat, she did an interview for Bustle. And she's actually really excited that this season they actually play more on Kat's race, because I think from season 1, and a few fans were saying in the YouTube comments, a lot of fans were asking for that, and I think the Bold Type writers heard and they actually wrote it in. So just a quote from her article, she's like, it was so touching to me that the writers found this story that I've never seen before. She's like, I'm also biracial, and even though my story is very different from Kat's, we come from completely different places, we are different people, I connected to it. So she's really excited that this season, is going to delve more on her race. And I think a lot of the fans wanted to see that. So I guess that's what the writers are doing for season 2.
Amazing.
It's a pretty amazing article too.
True. What are your thoughts?
Yes.
I'm biracial, obviously, if you can't, well, not obviously, because some of you are listening. Dad's from Jamaica, mom is Irish, biracial. So, I don't know, I thought that I guess that's some people's experience. Most of my biracial friends and myself, that's not, you don't feel like you're not claiming a parent by checking off the black, like, race is what is an outer thing, so by me checking the black box, I'm visibly black. That's what I check.
Yeah,
don't feel like I'm disowning my mother by checking that. So it was just kind of one of those weird things. I don't know. I understand that was some people's experience, but I just think there's a very large majority of us that wasn't our experience, and it just kind of hit like a flat note for me. But I'm glad at least they're attempting to address it, and so maybe go back to the drawing board, but I'm glad that you're at least trying it, because not many people, I don't see a lot of storylines about being biracial, so
yeah,
it was nice to see them at least attempt it.
Yeah.
But it's good for you to speak on it, because
Yeah,
you're the only one who is biracial.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I was trying to explain to a few people. I'm like, none of us are here and we didn't want to offend anybody. And I think a lot of people expected me because I'm black, and I'm like, I have biracial friends, but I don't want to speak for anyone because I can never tell what anyone else's experience is. So I'm happy that you're here to tell your side.
I think and again, I'm just speaking for other biracial people that I know and myself, I think for most of us, we're black. We're lighter skinned. There's different things that we don't have to deal with because we're lighter, but then there's things that we have to deal with because we're put in a situation where we're not surrounded by a lot of other black people. So I would have liked to see them touch on that. Maybe they'll touch on it throughout the season. But yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't.
I feel you.
It wasn't necessarily something that I'm glad it's being talked about, but it wasn't something necessarily that I was like, oh, that's what I go through.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So.
Well, thanks, Drew.
You're welcome.
We love having you. I want you to come back all the time. Anytime any of our regular panel members are out.
Please.
Just let
You're
me
welcome.
know.
It's almost funny because me, Drew, and Nakia are on another panel together, so I almost am getting confused. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I was trying to think of which show
Show
you're
we're on.
referring to, and I was like, there's a lot of them.
There's so many. Well, really quick, let's do some really fast predictions to get into next week.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Alrighty, ladies. Drew, would you like to start?
Sure. I don't know if this is a prediction, but I think Kat really frustrates me in the fact that even when she's pushy, she still gets her way. And I just want a little slice of humble pie for her.
That'd be nice.
I don't want it to be the devastating or anything like that, but I do think she needs to kind of take a step back and quit being so pushy and selfish. And it kind of looks like next week she might get that humble pie, because we see that Adina, is getting a lot of lady love.
Hey.
I want to see Jane do the freelance thing. I want to see her maybe start that blog. I think that would be dope.
That's a great prediction.
I
love
really
that.
like this badass Sutton. I'm gonna fight for my career and no man's getting in the way. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. So
I like it.
That's
I love
good.
it. Nakia.
I predict that not next week or anytime soon, but I do see, so this episode was like the first time you kind of see tension between Sutton and Kat. I do see that happening again, and the reason I say that is because I did think when Sutton did spray the breath thing to go talk to, I don't think she's madly in love with, is his name Alex?
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say Nick, but I think because he looks like someone I know named Nick. I don't think she's like crushing over him, but I do think it's one of those things, you know when you like someone and you kind of don't like them, when someone else pays attention to them, you kind of get upset.
Yeah.
And we've seen with last week where I seen a little bit between Kat and him. So I kind of see where Sutton probably doesn't like him, but they still flirt, but I think he might pay attention to someone else or Kat, and I do see more tension brewing. I'm just saying.
You know what could make sense about that actually too is the fact that now that like everybody knows about them, so it makes it easier to kind of revisit that
That's
relationship.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's my only prediction.
Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be some drama with Richard too. We didn't see him at all this episode,
Yeah.
but I feel like now that he's a main cast member this season, I feel like maybe he gets another girl or he starts seeing someone, and I think that's gonna bring some confusion for Sutton, just because she's the one that was ultimately like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be hard for her. I think there's gonna be something with him, like another girl or some issues.
Interesting. Mitzi, it'll be Mitzi. No,
Mitzi.
Oh, that would be the worst.
That would be
She
the
has to
worst.
go.
Can't
Oh my
stand
gosh.
her.
Well, I'm thinking that like I'm just gonna jump on the Drew bandwagon here and say that Jane's gonna start her own blog and figure out a
I
way
like
to
it.
be her own boss and figure out that own imprint that she wanted to have. And I think it's gonna get a lot of press, and I think that it's gonna really go well for her. But it's not gonna be easy. I think it's gonna be a long haul. That maybe this is because it did get picked up for like another season after this. You know, I think that it'll be like a season finale thing where she kind of is just then starting to get this on the road.
Yeah.
And then I think that I think the whole side I do see Sutton and Richard as endgame for sure. I don't know if I feel the whole her and Alex thing, but I don't know. I mean, like
gotta go
what
through some
you
stuff in
said,
between, maybe?
I definitely think that if they were to get back together, it's definitely because of that issue. Yeah, I don't know. And then Kat and Adina, I think that they're a really strong couple, and I think that they're the ones that are going to be tested the most, just because that's usually what happens in storylines like this. And next week is going to be one of those examples, as we kind of saw. But I feel like those are bad predictions. I'm sorry.
No.
I guess we will just have to wait and see next week. But thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, we love you guys. Please make sure to comment, subscribe, give us 5 stars on iTunes Podcast. And Drew, where can they find you on social media?
You guys can find me on all the things at OKDrewJ.
Nakia.
You guys can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
Krista.
Hey guys, you can find me on social media at Krista Flentje.
And hey guys, Allie Nasta here. Find me on all social media at Allie Girl. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.